Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I will talk about Hayek's book The Road to Serfdom, because I think many people actually misunderstand the book and what he actually wanted to reach with it. What is right is that the book was written against communist governments and also centrally planned governments, meaning for example National Socialist Germany. However, many people think that he was in general against socialist tendencies in governments, which is only half true, because he actually argued for health insurance and also a certain level of minimum wage in his book. To be more precise, he spoke about that everyone should have a basic income, everyone should have shelter, everyone should have food and certain health care. So this is very important to note, that he was not against all state interferences in public life or in a person's life. However, he also never said that basically a welfare government will eventually become always a dictatorial government or like a centrally planned communist government. He said there's a tendency to it, but it is not guaranteed. That is why he said people can always stop it. If you see how a centrally like a welfare state gets slowly and slowly into like a bigger and bigger state that is centrally planned, you can stop it actually when you interfere with it and build it all down again. What is interesting, of course, is that the book he wrote in 1944, but actually later in his life he got way stricter on how a government ought to be. At that point he still said a government can be big as long as it has only few rules that kind of guide people along it. But later in his life he got way stricter on it and was way more against big governments, which also could be because there are bigger and bigger governments throughout the period he lived, which brought quite some trouble with it. And we saw it especially in the UK where he lived, and also in the US where bigger governments brought huge problems with spending and also way more welfare, which was resulted in a great deficit in the households and thus bigger and bigger inflation and also more and more interest payments from the government because of debt. However, I hope you liked the video, I hope you could learn something, and I wish you a good day. Bye for now.